Hello and welcome to this series that I'm doing from now until great until from now until the end of 2021. I am giving you a free series sharing the shamanic wisdom that I've gained since I went on my first vision quest in 2003. Now, I had 7 people ask me to do this or suggest that this is what I should be doing, to just pass on some of the teachings that I've learned over the years. And to get the most out of this, you can watch it live here, interact with me, send me messages. I'm also going to be posting these videos on my YouTube channel, Linda Babuluk. While you're there, subscribe, and it will be under the playlist called Shamanic Wisdom. That's where you're going to find these. And I wanted to start by showing you a couple of the rituals. We are going to do a session on rituals that I do before I start work every day. I light a little candle inside these starry um, a starry candle holder to remind me that I'm a star seed. I came here from another place and another time. And then I also have smudge. We're going to talk about smudge in one of our sessions. I'm going to tell you what I put in my smudge, what each of them signify. I use my turkey feather to smudge with. Turkey feather is the ground eagle. It is the bird of abundance. And so I call in abundance for you and your family and everyone around us. An abundance of today's topic, which is the alchemy of energy. So I call in the 4 directions. We're going to talk about that in one of these sessions. I have so much that I've been asked to give that I couldn't just do it once a week, or I wouldn't have enough time to give you all the pieces I want to give you before the year end. So this is the alchemy of energy. It's to get to know your power intimately. You want to know what makes it small, and you want to know what makes it big, because size does matter. That's our agenda today. First, we're going to start with an intro to shamanism, an introduction. I have my own definition, but first I'll tell you what Wikipedia said. And I totally don't agree with this. It says that shamanism is a religious practice that involves a practitioner who's believed to interact with a spirit world through altered states of consciousness, such as a trance. The goal of this is usually to direct those spirits or spiritual energies into the physical world for healing, divination, or other purpose. That's not my shamanism. My shamanism that I studied was not a religious practice. It not aligned at all with what Wikipedia is saying. It's not religious. For me, it's that spiritual energy that's tied to the earth. The ancient knowledge, just like burning smudge, is not an Aboriginal thing, although Aboriginal people do. Women from ancient times and men from ancient times burnt incest in Egypt, they burnt herbs to change the atmosphere, to change the energy in a room. My lineage goes back to coming to Canada about 400 years ago. I was asked about that this morning, so I thought I would share that with you. They came from France. Very likely that I have Aboriginal blood in me. I haven't been able to find the documentation of that yet. When it's time for me to know, I trust that I will be told and the connections will be made. But look at this nose. Yeah, it's it's there. And the feelings that I have, my attachment to the earth, to spirit, that certainly does resonate with that tradition. And my study that got me into this was my first vision quest, as I said, in 2003. Not a religion. They call it a twisted hair tradition. And the people that did it pulled in teachings from Buddhism, Hinduism, Catholicism, Aboriginal traditions, and whatever else. They melted it together like a braid of sweet grass. So it's called twisted, and twisted hair. So it's a combination of a number of things. I took all of that, plus everything I already knew, all the new things I've learned, and that's what I'm sharing with you. Today, we're going to start with the very beginning of what I do with my clients when we're on retreats. When I do workshops, we start with the basic alchemy of energy. So you take your hands, you can go along with me. It's fun doing this with kids or with people that have never done it before. So you rub your hands together, and then you can feel the ball of energy between your hands. Can you feel that? Your fingers will be a little tingly. And now move your hands apart. How big can you make that ball of energy? That alchemy is happening. Alchemy means changing something, one substance into another substance. You've changed this air between your hands into energy. And what we do by this is then we can share it with others. If you're standing with someone, you can make your ball of energy and then feel their hands and feel how that energy can be played with. Because everything is energy. We need to know how to handle that energy. We need to know how to make it big. So once you know this, you can walk into a room, take your deep breath, and expand your energy. You can fill the room. I mean, you've seen it. You've seen people walk into the room, and it's like, whoa, who is that? And you could feel their magnetism, their energy. You can also shrink it right down so that people won't even notice that you're there. And the nice thing about this is you do it by choice. I used to not do it by choice. I had just come in like a bull in a china shop, and I learned that's not cool. That's not very cool. And it was upsetting the balance of energy. Whatever space is there, it has a certain frequency. And to just disrupt it is, in my opinion, not a very smart thing to do. So I heard a story not long ago about Marilyn Monroe, the actress from many years ago. She was walking down a street in New York City with her photographer's wife. And the woman said to Marilyn, "Nobody is even noticing you. Nobody can even see that you're here, that it's Marilyn Monroe." And she said, "Watch this." And she just expanded her energy. Just had to think about it, let her energy out, and everybody was pointing at her, going, "Hey, that's Marilyn Monroe. That's Marilyn Monroe." So you can do that too. You need to decide how you're going to use your energy, where you're going to put it out. That's really the first block in getting to know yourself. And that's really the purpose of shamanism. The reason why I went on this was to be able to heal the wounds and the trauma of the past. We all have them. And to really get to know myself, to get to forgive myself, to get to like myself. So that instead of going to events and blowing the energy all over the place like an explosion and then feeling guilty about it, I could have intent when I walked in. And when I left, I felt good about the footprint I'd left behind. The other thing that we do with energy when we're in a retreat or when we're in a group, we can build an energy dome. So don't you find that when you're with your friends or when loved ones and you have this synchronicity, this energy that is all together and you feel so protected by the energy, you can cast that energy dome on purpose with intent, which is what we did at our women's gatherings, the Zest Wisdom Circle, women's retreats. we always start by having our energy dome that protects us from any energies or outside entities that may want to infiltrate or zap into us, or the phone rings, or you think I should be making a grocery list. It keeps the energy contained in that chalice, that container, that sacred container. It turns it into sacred space so that you're all united in there with your intent of the work you're going to do. And the healing energy starts with healing yourself first. And to be able to release the energy, often things are created in a certain mindset. If something is created out of fear and it stays with you in your emotional field, that needs to be removed. You can dissipate it once you learn how to use your energy. And it's important to do that because you want to make room for the new, the fun, the exciting. So let's clear out the old stuff and be done with it. You keep telling the same story again and again and again, and it just makes you a victim. And we're done with that. That story can't hurt you anymore. It's in the past, unless we keep replaying it. And we are really good at that. We keep pressing the replay button again and again and again. And then our finger gets tired. We put it on the floor. We press replay, replay, replay. That painful story I keep telling again and again and again. And for me, one of the painful stories was in my head. I thought that when my mother died, she had betrayed me. She was 47 and I was 17, and that's the way I felt. I felt abandoned and betrayed. And then it was only many, many years later, 30 years later, in fact, when a friend of mine died by suicide and somebody said, she abandoned us. I went, oh, no, she didn't. She simply left. And then at that same painful moment of losing my friend, I was like, and mom didn't abandon me either. Duh. Just like, really, 30 years I carried that story around that my mother had abandoned me by dying. She didn't. She didn't think, oh, well, I'll get back at Linda. I think I'm just going to leave the planet, die of cancer. No, it wasn't that at all. So we make up stories in our own head. We need to release those stories because they're not always true, are they? We make them up. I made it up because that's what I needed to know when I was 17. And many years later, I was able to flush that out. So the energy that you have goes, then the story goes. So first, get rid of that energy, get rid of your stories, and then that's the charge that it had is released. You know, I can't always tell that story without being tearful and emotional because there's still a charge to it. So once the charge is gone, you can tell your story with none of that emotion. Because what you want to transform into is that magnetic, attractive energy. That's what you are. You're so attractive that everybody wants to know who you are, wants to spend time with you because you're a mystical, magical character. And that's what we're going to be working on and working with in the next little while. So please drop in the comments your thoughts, your feelings, anything you want me to cover, and I will cover it. Now, your call to action for this one is to practice. Practice, practice, practice. If you can just do the energy ball, do it in the morning, do it at night, the afternoon. See if there's a difference on how quickly and easily you can connect. You can do it if you see a bird outside your window. Can you feel the energy of that bird? So practice that. If you can practice with someone and feel the energy back and forth, somebody could be walking down the street. You could feel their energy. You don't have to do this, but you'll be able to feel if they're happy, if they're sad. You just know it because you can feel their energetic aura is what you're going to pick up first. I'm not sure what condition it's going to be in to be able to talk to you tomorrow. 11 o'clock Eastern's what I have scheduled. I also have kitchen renovations starting at 7 a.m. Eastern. Tomorrow's agenda is to talk about chakras. We're going to talk about the definition. What are they? Where are they located? What colors do they have? What element? And what are they associated with? I'm going to keep these down to 10, 15 minutes. I think that's good. You've got lots of work to do as far as the alchemy of energy and see how you can change the energy from one thing to the next. So practice, and I'll see you back here tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Drop me some comments. Let me know what you think. Thank you. I see you tomorrow. Every day this week, except Thursday, because it's Remembrance Day. But I'll give you the agenda a day ahead. See you tomorrow.